Welcome to the first part of third module, that is networking, and introduction to the networking of iDevOps for You course. iDevOps for You course is completely free. It is not at all chargeable, and I'm using all my resources to the full extent, my time and my other knowledge related resources, just to make uh, a small positive difference in your knowledge gaining. So now in this module we are going to talk about a very important concept. If it is not there, so whatever activities we want to do, either it's ML ops or DevOps or artificial intelligence, it is those activities won't be possible at all. So that concept is nothing but a networking. So without networking, so a lot of things are absolutely impossible. So that's the reason I just want to give more stress on networking before we enter and explore uh, into the more important topics in DevOps, such as Git, Docker, Kubernetes, Jenkins. So all these things, even whatever you want to do with all those tools and the activities that are related to those tools, you should able to understand a networking concept. So that is the reason. Let's explore networking first, and then we will move into other topics one by one in our next module. So if you look into the screen, you can see on rightmost one trick, or you can consider it as a software hack. So please do not tell secret password anyone. So P, physical layer; do, data link layer, not network layer; tell, transport layer; S, secret, that's a session layer; P, presentation layer; A, application layer. This is how we used to remember. With this kind of hacks we used to remember in our engineering days, so that we can get good amount of marks. But now we are not here to get good amount of marks. Now we are here to get good amount of exposure to the networking. So that's the reason. In spite of going with the hacks, let's focus on the substance. So networks are everywhere, or so it seems. You can do anything with data that does not involve a network. So you can hardly do anything with data that does not involve a network. So like the human networks, that we are all a part of a computer network, that is share information and resources. For example, in business, the reliance the reliance on networks is even more pervasive than in homes or schools. So networks help individuals and businesses alike save money, but they also create income. So without a doubt, networking within the home will catch on over the next few years as it has in business. Soon, nearly all individuals in even moderately developed nations will have networked components throughout their homes. So those that don't those that don't follow this networking uh, will be netologically disadvantaged, because they will not be able to learn or to function at the same level as those who are networked. Networking, everything is all is about network, only about network, only about networks here. Okay, so now we will begin networking module with human networking analogy, and we will take up networking models and each layers in it consequently. So in its broadest sense, a network consists of two or more entities or objects, whatever way you wish to call, or you can also say it as a sharing, basically two or more entities or objects sharing resources and information. That's what a network. So although this module is about computer networks, there are networks that don't involve computers, and those networks are everywhere. So you have grown accustomed to accustomed to working with these kind of networks, possibly without even knowing it. So that's my job, to make you aware of these networks, and from this moment you're going to be conscious about these networks too. So it may not matter to you that, in a basic sense, sharing, either giving or getting, is a fundamental aspect of networking. That is the main principle of networking. Sharing, either a giving or a getting, is a fundamental aspect of networking. So you just know that. Now you will do it. So let's begin with our first human network, that is a family network. So most people belong to a family network in which related people share their resources and information. This sharing is bidirectional, because even the youngest family members share information of some sort. As the family grows, so does the network. So here is a network which connects members of a family together, where resources, knowledge, experience, information will be shared in between. It's exactly in front of your eyes on your screen. So, this is how a family network works. So if you see a father, a mother, a child, and child one and child two, it may be young or it may be boy or girl. So whatever it may be, so there is a clear cut sharing of resources between each member of the family. So it may be a financial terms, or it may be knowledge based, or it may be experience based, or it may be some information based. So whatever it may be, there is a clear cut give and take between each and every family member of that family. So that's why I call this network as a family network. So this is the best example for a human network. So as soon as you're born, you are part of a network. You are a part of a network. So whether you know it or not, you will always be in a network. As you grow up, kids network. As you grow up, school network. As you grow more up, then you will become a uh, engineering network. Then at this moment, you're in social networks. Just kidding. Okay, so then so the next network that you will be part of when you're reaching at the age of 25 or 24, so when you started working, that's your peer network. It can be even in school. It's a peer network. So peer network outside the family, there is a community that offers a wide array of resources than the typical family can provide. Naturally, it makes sense to connect the family to this community to take advantage of the wealth of resources available around around it. So if you see the following example that is displayed on the screen, so this type of information or resource sharing can be as simple as loaning a hammer to a neighbor, or carpooling with work associates, or helping a friend with his or her homework. So, all of these activities involving sharing or trading resources. So, this kind of network is represented by a two-way relationship, a give and take among equals or peers. So this is a family network. Once you come out of your house, then you have to set up a peer network, one more network. So there you have to get in touch with the school, hospital, work, store people, so that you can basically have that give and take relation, so that you can get more information to sustain your life, to live your life, to enhance your life quality. So that's the next network, that's a peer network. So now let's take from the peer network, from the home you went to a restaurant to eat up, to dine up. Let's see what kind of network there you can find. So so in any type of human network, there is a lot of giving and taking. You're already more accustomed to the client or server perspective in networking than you realize. So, for instance, because you might have heard that client and the server concept, that's how our web applications are hosted. Most of the web application, even few software such as Docker also works on the same logic, the client and server, Docker daemon, and then Docker engine, a Docker daemon, and then Docker client. So we'll have a two softwares that basically make this containerization possible. So the client and the server, you think this is the concept, it's just related to the software or networking? No, no, my friend, not at all. From childhood, you had been encountering this the client and the server model, and you were also the part of this the client and the server model. You may ask how. I will tell. Don't worry, my brother. So, uh, networking, then you realize. So now let's take one example. For instance, when you go to dinner at a restaurant, you become a customer, obviously, or a client, enjoying the food and drink prepared and served to you by the restaurant. On the other hand, the waiter works as a server, controlling and providing his customers with access to resources in the form of placing orders for the for and delivering food items. So here, in this case, in this example, uh, the server is our server and the client is you, the family members that you have gone there to dine up. So the server knows that requests will be made of him. So it's like access is sought when the order is placed, and then he will service those making the requests. So whatever request that you have made from your family, your for example, you have asked for you want juice, and for your wife roti, and for your kids idli. So you have made three requests, and all three requests will be served by the server. We don't care what's happening in the back end. We are only cared about the server and then customer or the client, the transaction that's taking place between the server and the client. So the client and the server, this is what the client and then server. So once uh, the server knows the requests will be made of him. So uh, once the requests have been made, so he will service those requests who are making, and then that means literally in this case he will deliver the orders that they placed that they have placed. So anyone who has looked for a job knows that one of the best ways to find a job is to network. So that is to create a list of friends and associates who will help you find the perfect job. The more people you meet and get to know, the better your chances of obtaining a work. So as you develop and nurture your career, this contact network will serve you best, because your role in it will change as you gain more experience. So soon you may be able to help the people who helped you, and as your personal and professional network grows, so your opportunity grows. So if you see all these examples of human networks should help you understand that networking is common between people and is not just an activity restricted to computers. However, this module will focus on only computer networks, connecting computers and having them communicate with each other. So before I close up this slide, I would like to give one small information, a disclaimer, or maybe a caution. So the caution is you must be very careful about this contact networks. Basically, the networking sales. In India, it happened with my friend, my best friend. So basically, somebody has approached him. His best friend had approached him to join in that contact networking sales. So they came up with a small product, and uh, if he able to make up a network with that product, so he will become a rich. That's what the condition. That's what the business that's what the business uh, model of that. So then this guy joined in that, and approximately he lost 2,50,000. So then after 1 year he got to realize that okay, there is some scam going on around. It's time to sue. It's time to get out of this. Get out of this. So then immediately we spoke, and then we started asking for the money, and we have sent mail, but he did not get the complete money. He did not get the complete money return back, whereas he got around at least 1,50,000. He lost 1 lakh. So that's why just be careful. Mm, don't basically don't become greedy for the money. So money is not just the life. Okay, so you do what you enjoy most. I enjoy software and then applications related to it, and the tools that are related to it, and learning new tools, new techniques, and then if it is possible, teaching fellow mates and friends and everybody. So I'm doing it, so money will fall in place, so you don't need to worry much about that. So don't fall for this kind of greedy offers. This is my suggestion. So now let's look into actual computer networks. A computer network consists of two or more computing devices that are connected in order to share the components of your network. Basically, what are the components? It's resources. So, and the information that you store in that computers. So as uh, as you can see that in the infographic, which is exactly in front of your eyes on your screen. So we have two computers, one personal computer and one laptop, and then we have one printer is an output device. So you can see the you can see the infographic that's displayed on the screen. So the most basic computer network, which can just consist of just two connected computers, and from this it can expand and become more usable when additional computers join and add their resources to those being shared. So in this case, the first computer is yours, is commonly referred to as your local computer. It's more likely to be it's more likely to be used as a location where you do work. So you normally we call it as a cubicle or workstation. So then as a storage or a controlling location or a server. As more and more computers are connected to a network and share their resources, the network becomes a more powerful tool, because employees using a network with more information and more capability are able to accomplish more through those added computers or additional resources. That is the reason. And networking always enhances your capabilities or skills. I'm talking for human. Of course, the same applies to the computers. Sometimes it affects in a negative way also for humans. Same happens with the computers also, but we have to see the positive side, the brightest side of networking for this moment, and then after that we will move into negative side of darkest side of the networking. So how can you solve that? That also will do it. So now the real power of networking computers become apparent if you envision your own network growing and then connecting it with other distinct networks. So enabling communication and resource sharing across both networks. So that is, one network can be connected to another network. So one network can also be connected with the another network and become a more powerful tool because of the greater and very higher amount of resources that can be used across the networks. Basically, the opportunities are growing to enhance your abilities and skills. So now identifying the benefits of network. After knowing the fundamentals of network, you all might be pondering around the question, what are networks used for? And this is a simple question. What are the networks used for? Why do you need it? Before I address this question, I would like to take you through a small historical story, a small history story. So, in the early days of the personal computer, around during the late 70s and early 80s, at that time, not now. So, at that maybe 40 years back, often a PC was used as a stand-alone computer and operated independently from other computers. So, when over the span of just those few years, their use proliferated and more pieces, more and more pieces were found relatively close to each other. So, users began sharing information. So the information was either printed out or copied from. You have only two options: either printed out through through the printer. That's our output device, or one either printed out, or the second option you can have is just copied from one computer to another using backup or storage devices such as tapes, discs, or other kind of digital storage media. So some so now the printout or the storage device was then physically carried to another computer where the information was re-entered or copied from the portable media into the next computer. So this process was referred to as a sneaker net. SNEAKERNET, sneaker net, because user actually had to walk from one computer to other computer. So it was probably the cheapest type of network, unless the computers were large distances apart from the information needed to be shared among many computers. So other drawbacks to sneaker nets were that printouts were often bulky and the storage devices could hold a relatively small amount of data compared to the large amount of output users produced. So with this condition, so once computers were connected by networks, so information sharing increased dramatically. So people found that more data helped them make better decisions and companies started saving money. So many original networks were designed to facilitate communication. That's it, nothing else. That was their initial motto, basically, to work on or design networks. So, but they were quickly expanded as businesses noticed increasing productivity and reduced costs because of this network. So that's how that's the way the networks helps us. So okay, enough of history lesson. Now let's get back to the benefits of a network. So what are the benefits of network? The first benefit is sharing information. What's the sharing information everybody is doing? So fundamentally, we if whether it is a human network or a computer network, the fundamental reason for establishing a network is sharing network. So the initial reason or the main reason for developing most computer networks was to assist users with sharing their increased output, especially between computers in the same general vicinity. So also individual employees are more likely to communicate with larger numbers of individuals, both inside and outside of the company, using email or an electronic means of communicating that's similar to mail but done on computers, so usually over the internet or over the networks. So email is the most commonly used feature of the internet, and its use is growing dramatically. In fact, email is fast becoming the primary choice for much of our daily communications. And the second benefit that we have is resource sharing resources. So is the sneakernet in the sneakernet era, that's early 1970s and 1980s. In that sneakernet era, users spent huge amounts of time attempting to share their resources. They had to physically distribute files that others needed, and expenditures for printers and other attached computer components rose rapidly, while the individual components themselves were not being used to their full capacity. On top of that, the hard disk storage on each local computer began filling up, partly because everyone had a copy of every document. That's the biggest pitfall of it. Uh, then the ability to share resources was another reason networks were created, and it is still one of the main purposes of using networks. So companies also look for ways to make the best use of their investments by sharing the purchased resources among multiple departments. Let's look at some of the resources that are commonly shared over computer networks. The first one is peripherals. Peripherals, basically printers, scanners, and speakers. So basically, these are the things which we want to share across in multiple departments. Printers, if you're part of a corporate company, or a corporate employee, you might have known about this. So then storage, then we have a storage. So storage, a user quickly ran out of space on their own local computers. So the people in charge of the networks began advising ways to store data centrally, so that it was accessible to any user who needed it. And one more resource which can be shared across the departments is applications. Users quickly ran out of space on their, so because of this, storage is also one of the biggest issue. But however, the applications are the one which can be shared across. So for example, if you take one example, so most of the company, if you're part of the corporate company, so all the applications can be shared across departments. And of course, few applications are specific to design department, few applications are specific to commercial department, few applications are specific to HR department. However, the applications which are HR related applications are used commonly by everybody, all the employees. And applications such as those used for preparing taxes, creating text documents, or playing computer games have grown in the complexity and size, and often take up considerable local storage. So installing an application once on a network and then sharing it cuts down on the storage space required when multiple users need this application, because these applications are needed by every employee of that company. So that's the reason it shares a huge amount of huge amount of resources for the owner of the company. Then assisting collaboration. So once you have digital information, and the ability to share it instantly with others over network. You can have multiple people working on the same process collectively, or same project, and Word, Access, Excel, and PowerPoint. These kind of tools can be used collaboratively. Of course, that's what is happening now. Git is one of the tool where we can work collaboratively. So allow multiple users to access and make changes to the same document in the same time. Example, Excel, we have uh, PowerPoint. We can connect it through Microsoft Office 360, and Power BI, we can do it, and even Tableau, we can do. The dashboard can be edited centrally. So finally, facilitating centralized management. So what does it mean? It brings a lot of savings using economies of scale, and reduces the total cost of ownership, managing software, maintaining the network, and backing up the data. So these are the benefits. However, because of this economies of scale, so there will be huge amount of reduced total cost of ownership. That makes a huge difference for enterprise owner.